Verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, one second. And when he had opened the third seal, signifies exploration by the Lord of those upon whom the last judgment was to be executed, as to the states of their life. The same is here signified by these words as before, only with the difference explained below. And I heard the third animal saying signifies according to the divine truth of the word as above. Come and come and look. Come and look signifies manifestation concerning the third in order. As may appear from the explanation above, only there the first in order are treated of, but here the third. And I saw and behold a black horse signifies the understanding of the word destroyed as to truth, thus as to doctrine with this. That the horse signifies the understanding of the word was shown above. The reason why black signifies what is not true, thus falsity, is because black is the opposite of white, and white is predicated of truth. White also derives its origin from light, and black from darkness. Derives. Like deduce, extract. And black from darkness, thus from the absence of light, and light is truth. But in the spiritual world, there exists blackness from a twofold origin. One from the absence of flaming light. Absence like lack. One from the absence of flaming light, which light is with those who are in the Lord's celestial kingdom. And the other from the absence of bright light, which is the light with those who are in the Lord's spiritual kingdom. The latter blackness has the same signification as darkness, but the former as thick darkness. There is a difference between these two kinds of blackness. The one is abominable, the other not so much, so it is the same with the falsities which they signify. They who appear in the abominable kind of blackness. Abominable. Like abominable. Disgust. Kind of blackness are called devils, such holding truth in abomination as honored owls do the light of the sun. But they appear in that kind of blackness which is not abominable, or called the Satans. These do not abominate truth, but are Averse to it.
Averse.
Averse. Like unwilling. Averse. Unwilling. Averse to it. The latter may therefore be compared to owls and the former to honored owls. That blacken the word is spoken of falsity. Honored owls. What is this?
Horned owls.
Ah. Owned.
Horned owls.
Horned owls. Horned owls. It's not honored. Horned. It's horned owls. Let's see the picture. Horned owl. What is this? Wow. Horned owls. That black in the word is spoken of falsity may appear from these passages. Here Nazarites were whiter than snow, their form is darkened more than blackness. The day shall grow black over the prophets. In the day when thou goest down into hell, I will make Lebanon black over there. The sun became black as sackcloth of air. The sun of moon and the stars became black. The reason why the third animal showed a black horse was because it had a face like a man, by which is signified the divine truth of the word as true wisdom. Therefore this animal showed that there was no longer any truth of wisdom with those who were in 13 order. And he that sat upon him had a pair of balances in his hand, signifies the estimation of good and truth. Estimation. Estimation, like calculation. Estimation of good and truth of what kind it was with this. By the pair of balances in his hand it signified the estimation of truth and good, for all measures and weights in the word signify the estimation of the thing treated of. That measures and weights signify such things is manifest from these words in Daniel. There appeared writing before Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, when he was drinking wine from the vessels of gold and silver taken out of the temple of Jerusalem. Mene thekel perizin, that is numbered, weight, divided. The interpretation of which is this: Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Thekel, thou art weighed in the balance and found wanting. Whereas the kingdom is divided and given to the Mede and the Persian. By drinking from the gold and silver vessels of the temple of Jerusalem, and at the same time worshiping other gods, signifies the profanation of good and truth, as also by Babylon. By mene, or to number, is signified to know his quality as to truth. By thekel, or to weigh, is signified to know his quality as to good. By peres, or to divide, is signified to to disperse. That the quality of truth and good is signified by measures and by balances in the word is manifest in Isaiah. Who hath measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? Hollowed, like hollowed, hollow.
Hollow.
No, hollow. No, it's not hollowed. Hollowed, hollow. in the hollow of his hand, and hath meted out the heavens. Meted.
Meted.
Meted. It's like measure. And hath meted out the heavens with the span, and hath embraced the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in balances. What is span?
Span.
Span, like period, interval.
Interval.
Interval. The span, interval. And in Revelation, the angel and in Revelation, the angel measured the wall of the holy Jerusalem 144 cubits, which is the measure of a man, that is, of an angel. Verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four animals saying, signifies the divine guard of the word by the Lord. That the four animals, or cherubs, signify the words from first two ultimates, and guards lest its interior truths and goods should be violated, may be seen above. And because these guards are from the Lord, the voice was therefore heard in the midst of the four animals. By in the midst.
Are you reading something? Oh.
Oh, I'm reading the book.
Okay,
And
what is the book?
It's Apocalypse Reviewed by Swedenborg.
Yeah, it's okay. Well,
And,
I'm reading really very interesting books, but I'm not sure. I've never read books.
It's a good way to learn English from books, from reading books.
Maybe it's a very useful for you vocabulary, but I don't think that it can help you with the English overall. But yeah, it's like one of side of English vocabulary. I think you got me.
It's what? Sorry, I don't understand.
I mean, it's very helpful for you vocabulary.
Calbury.
Yeah.
I don't know this word. Calbury.
Vocabulary is just a word, you know, words. All words in English. It means like
okay.
vocabulary is like how can I say, like your skills of knowing words. Yeah.
Yeah, because I use this application. If I don't know any word, I can translate it from this application I use, and I can translate from pictures in.
I think you're from Russia. Like sounds like Russian. Yeah.
I know Russian language,
but you know Russian.
But
okay,
I don't. I don't say about myself where I am.
No
from.
No problem.
But if you want to read too, you can read next verse. I read verse by verse from this book, and you can read next verse.
Okay, well.
Okay, let's go. The midst of the four animals, by in the midst of them is meant the word as to its eternal spiritual sense, which is the Lord guards. That a guard is signified is manifest from the things that is said. A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and hurt not the oil and the wine. By which is signified.
Okay, it's my turn. Yeah.
No, you can read. You can read from after. Maybe item 2. You can read from here after 3 pages, but pages are little here.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Actually, you can read from here, 315, when I will finish one page.
Oh, Ava is also here. Hello, Ava.
Sorry, what do you mean? I don't understand.
I was saying hi to Ava. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, it's good to hear you and see you here. Okay, let's read. By which is signified that because the estimation. What is estimation? Estimation.
Estimation.
It's estimation.
Estimation.
It's like evaluation. Evaluation. It's about value, definition. Because the estimation of good and truth is so trifling. What is trifling?
Trifling.
Trifling, like small, trifle. That it is scarcely anything. Scarcely.
Scarcely.
Like almost. That is scarcely anything. It must be provided that the holy goods and truths which lie hid interiorly in the word should not be violated and profaned, and this is provided by the Lord by this means that they at length do not know any good, and thence neither any truth, but mere evil and falsity. For they who know goods and truths can violate, yea, they can profane them, but not so they who do not know them. That such is the operation of the divine providence in guarding the word may be seen in the angelic wisdom concerning the divine providence. The end at the beginning. Who wanted to read? You can read from here, 315. Okay, I'll finish this verse. A measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny signifies because the estimation of good and truth is so small as to be scarcely anything. These are signified because by a measure, chonix, which was the measure and the quality measured, is signified quality as above. By wheat and barley is signified good and truth, and by penny, which is very small coin, that they are held in little or no estimation. It is said 3 measures of barley, because 3 signifies all and are predicated of truth. The reason why wheat and barley signify good and truth, here the good and truth of the church from the word, is because all things which belong to the field and the vineyard signify such things as are of the church, because a field signifies the church as to good and the truth thence, and the vineyard the church as to truth and good therefrom. Therefore, where these are mentioned in the word, the angels who perceive all things spiritually understand nothing else as in Joel. The field is wasted, the land mourneth, for the corn is wasted, the mast is dried up. Must.
Must.
But must is like must, because it's noun here. The mast is dried up, the oil languisheth. Languisheth.
Languisheth.
Languisheth. Languisheth. I can't explain. Be ashamed, O ye husbandmen, ho, O ye wine dressers, ho, husbandmen.
How?
Like mourn, scream, cry. Husbandman, I know who is husband.
Husbandman.
Wow, husbandmen is like farmers. Wow. Howl, O ye vine dressers, for the wheat and the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. All these things signify such things as are of the church. What wheat and barley signify, the good and truth of the church, may be seen from these passages. John said concerning Jesus that he will gather the wheat into the barn and burn up the chaff with fire. Jesus said, "Let the tares, tares, tares,
Terry's.
tares, tares, tares. Let the tares and the wheat grow together, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares to burn, but gather the wheat into my barn." I, sorry, what do you say? I don't hear. I didn't hear. My barn. I have heard the consummation and decision from Jehovah God. He layeth up the measured wheat and the appointed barley, for his God doth instruct him to judgment and doth teach him. This word is like doth, does,
Duff.
doth. Yeah, doth is like does. Jehovah shall lead thee to a land of wheat and barley. A land of wheat and barley, here is the land of Canaan, by which the church is signified. They shall come and sign in the height of Zion, and shall flow together in the goodness of Jehovah, for wheat and must. Jehovah shall satiate thee. What is satiate?
Satiate.
Satiate,
Satiate.
like satisfy. Shall satiate. Satiate.
Satiate.
Satiate. Jehovah shall satiate thee with the fat of wheat. Jehovah said to the prophet Ezekiel that he should make himself cakes of barley mixed with dung and eat them. And to the prophet Hosea that he should take a woman and adulteress. He should take a woman and adulteress, whom he bought for a homer of barley and half a homer of barley, which things were done by those prophets that they might represent the falsification of truth in the church. For barley signifies truth, and barley mixed with dung, truth falsified and profaned. A woman an adulteress also signifies truth falsified. And hurt not the oil and the wine signifies that it is provided by the Lord, that the holy goods and truths which lie interiorly concealed in the word shall not be violated and profane. Oil signifies the goods of love, and wine truth from that good. Therefore oil signifies holyhood, and wine holy truth. Hurt them not signifies that it is provided by the Lord, that they shall not be violated and profaned. For this was heard from the midst of the four animals, thus from the Lord. What is said by the Lord is what is said by the Lord, the same is also provided for by him. that it is provided may be seen above. That oil signifies the good of love will be seen below. But the wine signifies truth from that good, is evident from the following passages. Everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that hath no silver, come ye buy and eat. Ye come buy wine and milk without silver. And it shall come to pass in the day that the mountains shall drop down must, and the hills shall flow with milk, and joy is taken away from Carmel, and in the vineyards there shall be no singing. Wine shall not be trodden in the winepress. I have made the shouting to cease. By Carmel signified the spiritual church, because vineyards were there. Howl, all ye drinkers of wine, because of the must, for it is cut off from your mouth. Howl, O ye wine dressers. What is howl? Howl.
Howl.
Like wail, moan. Howl. Nearly the same words occur in Hosea, Zephaniah, Lamentations, Micah, Amos, Isaiah. He washeth his garments in wine, and his covering in the blood of grapes. His eyes are red from wine. These things are concerning the Lord. Wine signifies divine truth. This is the reason why the Holy Supper was instituted by the Lord, in which the bread signifies the Lord as to the divine good, and the wine the Lord as to the divine truth. And with the recipients, the bread signifies holy good, and the wine holy truth from the Lord. Therefore he said, I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth, henceforth, henceforth,
Henceforth.
henceforth, henceforth. It's like from now on. Further. Henceforth, henceforth, of this product of the wine, until the day when I shall drink it with you in my Father's kingdom. Because bread and wine had this signification, therefore also Melchizedek, going to meet Abram, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God, and he blessed Abram. Similar is the signification of the meal offering and drink offering in the sacrifices concerning which see Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers to the end and the following verses. The meal offering was of fine flour of wheat, and was therefore instead of bread, and the drink offering was of wine, from which it may appear what is signified by these words in the Lord. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, but they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. New wine is the divine truth of the New Testament, thus of the New Church, and old wine is the divine truth of the Old Testament, thus of the Old Church. Similar is the signification of these words in the Lord at the marriage of Cana of Galilee. Every man at first setteth forth good wine, and when men have had enough, the worse, thou hast kept the good wine until now. The like is also signified by wine in the Lord's parable of the man that was wounded by robbers, that the Samaritan poured oil and wine into his wounds. For by him that was wounded by robbers are meant they who are spiritually wounded by the Jews, by evils and falsities, to whom the Samaritan gave assistance by pouring in oil and wine into his wounds, that is, by teaching good and truth, and so far as he was able by healing. Holy truth is also signified by must and wine in other parts of the word. Isaiah, Hosea, Amos, Zechariah, Psalms. Hence it is that a vineyard in the word signifies a church that is in truth from the Lord. That wine signifies holy truth may also appear from its opposite sense, in which is signified truth, falsified and profaned, as in these passages. Whoredom and wine and must occupy the heart. The wine has failed. They have committed whoredom continually. Whoredom signifies the falsification of truth, as do wine and must. In the hand of Jehovah is a cup, and he hath mixed it with wine. He hath filled it with mixture, and poureth it out, and the dregs of it all the wicked dregs of it. What is dregs? Dreg.
Dregs.
Dregs, like sludge. Like garbage, maybe, yeah. In the dregs of it all the wicked of yours suck out and drink. Babylon is a cup of gold in the hand of Jehovah that maketh all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore they are insane. Babylon hath fallen, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the angel of her whoredom. If anyone adore the beast, he shall drink of the wine of the anger of God, which is prepared unmixed in the cup of the anger of God. Babylon hath made all nations drink of the wine of her whoredom. Great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of the wine and the fury of the anger of God. The inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her whoredom. So, 3 pages else. Whoredom. By the wine which Belshazzar, king of Babylon, and his magnates, it's like
Magnates.
magnates, like grandi. Tycoon, magnate. Financial magnate.
Financial magnate.
Financial magnate. His magnates and wives and concubines drank out of the vessels of the temple of Jerusalem, and at the same time they praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. Nothing else is meant than the holy truth of the word and of the church.
Swedenborger.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
And of the church profaned. Wherefore the writing them appeared upon the wall, and the king was slain that night. Wine signifies truth falsified, also in Isaiah, Jeremiah. The same is signified by the drink offering, which they offered to idols. Do you want to read?
Oh, let's go.
You can read from next page, verse 7. And I will finish this page.
Okay, wow.
That wine signifies holy truth, and in the opposite sense, truth profaned is from correspondence. For the angels who perceive all things spiritually understand nothing else. When man reads wine in the word, such a correspondence is there between the natural thoughts of man and the spiritual thoughts of angels. It is similar with the wine in the Holy Supper, and hence it is that introduction into heaven is effected by the Holy Supper. Verse 7, go
That's
ahead.
mine. Oh, okay, well. And when he had opened the first seal, signifies exploration by the word of this upper womb, the last judgment was to be executed as to their states of life as above, only with the difference explained below. I heard the voice of the fourth animal saying, signifies according to the divine trust of the world as above. Come and look signifies manifestation concerning the first in order, as is evident from the explanation above, but there it's applied to the first in order. Here to the first. Yeah. So,
you can continue because it was short. If you can read verse 8.
Okay, well, and I saw and behold, a pale horse signifies the.
How did you say this word?
How about truth?
It's truth.
Truth. Okay, I'm sorry.
Truth.
Truth.
Правда.
Truth.
It's like true. Right.
Истина.
Signifies the understanding.
Understanding of the world destroyed both as the good and as the truth. A horse signifies the understanding of the world, and pale signifies no vitality. In the
Vitality. It's vitality.
Vitality.
I think.
Vitality.
Vitality, like energy, life force.
In the world, this want of vitality is predicated of these who are not in goods of life from truth.
Of those. Predicated. Those. Predicated of those. It's
those.
Yeah, those.
Those. Those.
Who are not in goods of life from truth of the doctrine. Yeah. Doctrine. For the word in the sense of the letter is not understood without doctrine, and doctrine it's not perceived without a life according to it. The reason is because the life according to the doctrine which is from the word opens the spiritual mind when the light flows into it from heaven and enlightens and gives to perceive. So this in the case he doesn't know who knows truth of doctrine and yet does not live according to them. The reason why
does not live.
Live. The reason why the first animals showed a pale horse was because that animal was like a flying eagle, and by it was signified the divine truth of the world as acknowledged and understanding therefrom. Therefore he showed that with those who were now sins there were the knowledge of truth from the world, not any understanding of them, and such in the spiritual world appear pale, like this like those who are without life.
Those.
And his name that sets upon him was death, and hell fought with him signifies the extinction of spiritual life and then damnation. By death is here signified spiritual death, which is extinction of spiritual life, and by hell it signified damnation, which follows the death. Every man indeed has from creation and therefore bears spiritual life, but that life is extinguished. It sounds like German word. Okay, well, when he denies God, the wholeness of the world and eternal life is extinguished. So extinguished in the
Listen.
Extinguished.
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 It's like destroyed, annulled.
In the wool, but remains in the understanding of razor, yeah. In the faculty of understanding, but this man is distinguished from distinguished. Bias, as they signifies the extinction of spiritual life and hell damnation of this. Therefore, death and hell in some passages are named together as in this. I will redeem them from the hand of hell, and I will liberate them from death, and death I will be thy ploughs. Yeah, thy ploughs. Hell I will be destruction. Plagues.
Like pestilence, epidemic, plagues.
Yeah, like in Europe in the past.
Hell, I will be thy destruction.
Yeah, it's so long. you can continue.
Okay. The courts of death encompassed me. The courts of hell encompassed me. What is encompassed?
Encompassed.
Encompassed. It's like covered.
Охватывал.
Covered. Encompassed me. The courts of hell encompassed me. The snares of death prevented me. Like sheep, they are laid in hell. Death shall feed on them. Hell is their habitation. But God will redeem my soul from the hand of hell. I had the keys of hell and death, and power was given them over the fourth part of the earth. To kill signifies the destruction of all the good of the church, since by death is meant the extinction of man's spiritual life, and by hell damnation it follows that to kill here means to destroy the life of man's soul. The life of the soul is spiritual life. A fourth part of the earth signifies all the good of the church. The earth is the church. That a fourth.
I'm sorry, but I must be leave. So yeah, nice to meet you.
Goodbye, see you.
Yeah, goodbye. Take care.
Sorry. Part is all good, cannot be known by anyone unless he knows what numbers of the word signify. The numbers 2 and 4 in the word are predicated of goods and signify them, and the numbers 3 and 6 are predicated of truth and signify them. Thus, a fourth part, or simply a fourth, signifies all good, and the third part, or simply a third, signifies all truth. Therefore, to kill a fourth part of the earth here signifies to destroy all the good of the church. That power was not given to him that sat upon the pale horse to kill a fourth part of the habitable earth is evident. Besides, for in the word signifies the conjunction of good and truth. That for has this signification may indeed be confirmed from the word, as by the four animals or cherubim. By the four chariots between the two mountains of brass, by the four horns, and by the four horns of the altar, by the four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, as also by visiting the iniquity from the thirds and fourths, and in other places by the third and fourth generation. By this and by many other passages in the word I say, it can be confirmed that four is predicated of goods and signifies them, and also the conjunction of good and truth, but since this would not appear without a prolix. Prolix, like tiresome. Prolix.
Tiresome.
Prolix explanation of these passages, it is sufficient to mention. Sufficient.
Sufficient.
Sufficient to mention that nothing else is meant in heaven by four and by a fourth part, with sword and with hunger and with death, and by these beasts of the earth signifies by falsities of doctrine, by evils of life, by the love of the proprium, and by lusts. proprium, and by lusts, that by a sword is signified truth combating against evils and falsities and destroying them, and in the opposite sense, falsity combating against goods and truths and destroying them may be seen above. Here, therefore, by sword, because the destruction of all the goods in the church is treated of, are signified falsities of doctrine. I don't know. Signifies falsities of doctrine, that hunger signifies evils of life, will be confirmed below. The reason why death signifies the love of man's proprium is because death signifies the extinction of spiritual life. Extinction.
Extinction.
Like dying. Extinction of spiritual life, and thence natural life separated from spiritual life is above. And this life is the life of the love of man's proprium, for from it man loves nothing but himself and the world, and thence also he loves all kinds of evils, which from the love of that life are delightful to him. That beasts of the earth signify lusts from that love will be seen below. Here something shall be said concerning the signification of hunger. Hunger signifies deprivation,
Deprivation.
Deprivation, like loss. Deprivation and rejection of the knowledges of truth and good arising from evils of life. It also signifies ignorance of the knowledges of truth and good arising from a deficiency. Deficiency. What is this?
Deficiency.
Deficiency, like lack. Deficit. Deficiency. Thereof in the church. And it signified likewise a desire to know and to understand them. That hunger signifies the deprivation and rejection of the knowledges of truth and good, arising from evils of life. And thence evils of life may appear from the following passages. They shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcass shall be food for the birds of the heavens and for the beasts of the earth. And these two things shall come unto thee, devastation and breaking, and the famine and the sword. Behold, I will visit upon them. The young men shall die by the sword, their sons and their daughters shall die by famine. Give his sons to famine, and make them to flow down at the hand of the sword, that the men may be killed by death. I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like wild figs. They cannot be eaten. They are so evil, and I will pursue them with the sword, famine, and pestilence. Wild figs,
Vile.
like disgusting, filthy. I will send among them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence till they be consumed from off the land. I proclaim liberty for you to the sword, to the famine, and to the pestilence, and I will give you for a commotion to all nations. Commotion to all nations, and
Commotion.
commotion, like turmoil, unrest, to commotion, anxiety. And I will give you for a commotion to all nations, because thou hast polluted my sanctuary. A third part of thee shall die with the pestilence and with famine shall they be consumed. And the third part shall fall by the sword, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for destruction. The sword without, and the pestilence and famine within. For all the evil abominations, they shall fall by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. I will send my four evil judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword, the famine, and the evil beast, and the pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast. Besides other places, the sword, famine, pestilence, and beast in those passages have a signification similar to that of the sword, hunger, death, and the beasts of the earth here mentioned, for in the word there is a spiritual sense in every single expression, by which sense the sword is the destruction of spiritual life by falsities, hunger, the destruction of spiritual life by evils, beasts of the earth, the destruction of spiritual life by cupidities.
Cupidities.
Cupidities like greed, greed,
Avarice.
avarice, greed, and
Stinginess.
stinginess,
Miserliness.
miserliness, cupidities,
Cupidities.
beasts of the earth, the destruction of spiritual life by cupidities, cupidities, of falsity and evil, and pestilence and death signifies plenary consumption and thus damnation. Plenary,
Plenary.
plenary, plenary session, plenary consumption and thus damnation. Consumption,
Consumption.
consumption. It's like use. Consumption, just plenary consumption.
Plenary consumption.
plenary consumption, and thus damnation. That hunger signifies ignorance in the actually plenary. Maybe what is plenary? Maybe plenary is not like plenary. Plenary consumption. Okay. And thus damnation. That hunger signifies ignorance of the knowledges of truth and good arising from a deficiency, like deficit.
Deficiency.
Deficiency like deficit.
Deficit.
Deficiency and deficit. Deficiency but deficit. Deficiency of such knowledges in the church is also evident from various passages in the Word. From Isaiah, Lamentations, Job, and other places, that famine or hunger signifies the desire of knowing and understanding the truth and goods of the church is plain from the following: Isaiah, 1 Samuel, Psalms, Matthew, Luke, John. Verse 9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, signifies exploration by the Lord of the states of life who were to be saved at the day of the last judgment, and in the meantime were reserved. That these are here treated of is evident from what now follows, but it is to be known that these and the like are treated of throughout the 20th chapter, the explanation of which may be seen, manifesting who they are and why reserved. I saw under the altars the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held, signifies those who were hated, reproached, and rejected by the evil on account of their life according to the truth of the word, and the acknowledgement of the Lord's divine human, and who were guarded by the Lord lest they be seduced. Under the altar signifies the lower earth, where they were guarded by the Lord. An altar signifies the worship of the Lord from the good of love. By the souls of the slain are not here signified the martyrs, but they who are hated, reproached, and rejected by the evil in the world of spirits, and who could be seduced by the dragonists and heretics. For the and for the which they held signifies for living according to the truth of the word and acknowledging the Lord's divine human. Testimony in heaven is not given to any but to those who acknowledge the Lord's divine human, for it is the Lord who testifies and gives the angels to testify. So the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Since they were under the altar, it is evident they were guarded by the Lord, for they who have led any life of charity are all guarded by the Lord, lest they be endured by the evils, and after the last judgment, when the evil have been removed, they are released from the guards and elevated into heaven. I have frequently seen them, since the last judgment, liberated from the lower earth and taken up into heaven. That by the slain are meant they who are rejected, reproached, and hated by the evil in the world of spirits, and who could be seduced, and also who desire to know truth, but cannot by reason of falsities in the church, may appear from these passages. Jehovah God said, feed the sheep of the slaughter, whose possessors slayed them, and I will feed the sheep of slaughter on account of you, O poor of the flock. We are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. O Jehovah, forsake us not. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Yeah. He will never leave you nor forsake you. O Jehovah, forsake us not. Jacob shall cause them which are to come to take root, or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that were slain by him? For I have heard the voice of the daughter of Zion. Woe is me! Now my soul is wearied by the slayers. My soul is wearied by the slayers.
Wearied.
Wearied, wearied, wearied. My soul is wearied by the slayers.
Slayers.
Slayers, like killer. Slayers. My soul is wearied by the slayers. They shall deliver you into affliction and shall affliction.
Affliction.
Affliction like calamity, illness, tribulation, suffering, sorrow, affliction. They shall deliver you into affliction and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated for my name's sake. And this the Lord said to the disciples, but by disciples I meant all who worship the Lord and live according to the truth of his word. The evil in the world of spirits continually desire to kill, but because they cannot do as to the body, they continually desire to do it as to the soul. And since they are not able to do this, they burn it. They burn with such hatred against them that nothing delights them more than to do evil to them. This is the reason why they are guarded by the Lord, and when the evil are cast into hell, which takes place after the last judgment, they are led forth from their guards. But see the explanation of chapter which treats of this subject. That to kill in the word signifies to destroy souls, which is to kill spiritually, is evident from many passages there, as also from the following. Verse 10, when they cried with a great voice, signifies grief of heart, as is evident from what now follows, saying, How long, O Lord, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Signifies by reason that the last judgment is delayed, and they who offer violence to the word and to the Lord's divine human are not removed. How long, O Lord, dost thou not judge? Signifies why is the last judgment delayed, and avenge our blood signifies why in justice are they not condemned, who have offered them violence for acknowledging the Lord's divine human and for living according to the truth of his word. By blood is signified violence offered to them. Then them that dwell on the earth are meant the evil in the world of spirits, from whom they were guarded that they might not be hurt. Verse 11, and wine robes were given unto each of them, signifies that there was given them a communication and conjunction with the angels who were in divine truth. Garments signify truth, and white garments, genuine truth. Garments, genuine. Genuine.
Genuine.
Genuine, like real truth. Genuine truth. Garments have this signification because all in the heavens are clothed according to the truth with them, and everyone is clothed according to conjunction with angelic societies. Therefore, when conjunction is granted, they immediately appear clothed in a similar manner. Hence, it is that by white robes were given to each of them is signified that communication and conjunction was given them with angels who were in divine truth. Robes, mantles, and cloaks signify truth in general, because they are general coverings. He who knows the signification of these things may know the arcana which lie hidden in the following passages. That Elijah, when he found Elisha, cast his mantle upon him. That Elijah by his mantle divided the waters of Jordan, and in like manner Elisha, that the mantle fell from Elijah when he was taken up, and Elisha took it up. For by Elijah and Elisha the Lord was represented as to the word, and therefore the mantle signified the divine truth of the word is in general, as also was signified by the robe of Aaron's ephod, and the border of which there were pomegranates of blue and purple, and bells of gold. That is signified the divine truth in general may be seen in the Arcana Celestia, published at London. Cloaks and mantles have a similar signification in the following passages. All the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones and cast away their cloaks. The scribes and Pharisees make broad the borders of their cloaks, that they may be seen of men. My people have made themselves an enemy on account of a garment. Ye pull off the mantle from them that pass by. And it was said that they should rest yet for a little while, until their fellow servants, that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled, signifies that the last judgment should yet be delayed a little, till they should be collected from all quarters, who would, in like manner, be hated, reproached, and rejected by the evil, for acknowledging the Lord's divine human, and for living according to the truth of his word. That this is the signification appears from what has been said above. Similar is the signification of this passage in Isaiah. Thy dead shall live. Awake and shout, ye that dwell in the dust. Come, my people, enter into thy chambers. Chambers, like apartments.
Chambers.
Chambers. Chambers, and shut the door after thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the anger be passed by. For behold, Jehovah goeth forth out of his place, to visit the iniquity of all the inhabitants of the earth upon him. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. But as was said before, this subject and others of the similar nature are treated of in chapter 20 and following, which is explained. Verse 12. And I saw when he had opened the sixth seal, signifies exploration by the Lord of their state of life, who were interiorly evil and on whom the last judgment was to be executed. The D's are treated of is evident from what now follows, but that they may be understood. Two arcana are to be revealed. First, that the last judgment was executed only on such as appeared in their external form as Christians, and orally professed the things of the church, but in their internal form or in heart they were against them. And because they were such, they were therefore in conjunction with the ultimate heaven as to their exteriors, exteriors, exteriors.
Exteriors.
Exteriors. Exteriors. Exteriors. Exteriors like facade.
Facade.
Facade. Exteriors. Exteriors. By with hellas to the interiors. Secondly, that as long as they were in conjunction with the ultimate heaven, so long the internals of their will and the law were closed, for which reason they did not appear evil before others. But when they were separated from the ultimate heaven, then their interiors were disclosed and found to be totally in opposition to their exteriors, from which they dissembled and feigned that they were angels of heaven, and that the places they feigned, dissembled, and feigned,
Feigned.
like pretend, simulate, feigned, dissembled,
Dissembled.
like pretend to, just conceal. They inhabited were heavens. These heavens, so called, were those which passed away at the time of the last judgment. But more on this subject may be seen in the small work on the last judgment and in the continuation of the last judgment. And behold, there was a great earthquake, signifies the state of the church with this altogether changed, and terror. Earthquakes signify changes of state in the church, because the earth signifies the church, and because in the spiritual world, when the state of the church is perverted anywhere and there is a change, there is an earthquake, and as this is a prelude to their destruction. Prelude.
Prelude.
Prelude. Prelude. Accession.
Accession.
Prelude to their destruction. They are in terror. For the earth in the spiritual world are in appearance like the earths in the natural world, but as the earth there, like all other things in that world, are from a spiritual origin. Therefore, changes occur according to the state of the church among the inhabitants. And when the state of the church is perverted, they quake and tremble, sink down, and are moved out of their place. That this was the case when the last judgment was at hand and accomplished may be seen in the small work on the last judgment. Hence it may appear what is meant by earthquakes, shakings, and commotions of the earth in the following passages. Commotions.
Commotions.
Like turmoil, commotions of the earth on the following passages. There shall be pestilence, famines, and earthquakes in diverse places. Diverse.
diverse
places. This is said of the last judgment. In the fire of indignation have I spoken, surely in the day there shall be a great earthquake, and every man upon the face of the earth shall tremble, and the mountains shall be overturned. There was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. I will shake heaven, and the earth shall be removed out of her place in the indignation of Jehovah of hosts. Indignation.
indignation,
It's like outrage. That's indignation. And the and the foundations of the earth have been shaken. The earth is moved exceedingly for the transgressions, for the transgression thereof is heavy upon it, exceedingly.
exceedingly,
Extremely, very. The earth is shaken and moved, and the foundations of the mountains, because he was wroth. Wroth.
wroth,
Oh, it's like enraged. Wroth, enraged. He was wroth. The mountains tremble before Jehovah, and the rocks are overturned. But these things are to be understood as being done in the spiritual world, but not in the natural world. In this respect, they signify such things as are explained above. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, signifies the adulteration of all the good of love in them, and the falsification of all the truth of faith. That the sun signifies the Lord as to divine love, and thence the good of love from him. And in the opposite sense, the denial of the Lord's divinity, and thence the adulteration of the good of love may be seen above. And as the sun signifies the good of love, the moon therefore signifies the truth of faith. For the sun is red from fire, and the moon is white from the light of the sun, and fire signifies the good of love, and light, the truth from that good. Concerning the moon, see also the passages adduced above. It is said, the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, because adulterated good in itself is evil, and evil is black. And the reason why it is said, the moon became as blood, is because blood signifies the divine truth, and in the opposite sense, the divine truth falsified, as may be seen below. Nearly the same is said of the sun and moon in Joel. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of Jehovah cometh. Maybe any comments? Or maybe someone wants to read next verse? 13.
Can I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, signifies the dispersion of all the knowledges of good and truth. The stars signify the knowledges of good and truth may above.
Seen, maybe seen
May
above.
be seen above. That to fall from heaven to earth means to be dispersed is evident in the spiritual world. Also stars appear to fall from heaven to the earth there when the knowledges of good and truth perish. Even as a fig tree, her unripe figs, and shaken by
Casteth is like casts, yeah? Casteth.
right. When shaken by a great wind signifies by reasoning of the natural man separated from the spiritual. It is said to have this signification when yet it is a comparison, because all comparisons in the world are also correspondences, and in the spiritual sense they cohere with the subject treated of as in the present instance. For a fig from correspondence signifies the natural good of a man joined with his spiritual good. But here, in the opposite sense, the natural good of man separated from the spiritual good, which is not good. And as the natural man, when separated from the spiritual, prevents by reasoning knowledges of good and truth, which are signified by the stars, it follows that this is signified by a fig tree shaken by a great wind. The wind also storm signify reasoning is evident from many passages in the world, but it is not necessary to use them here because it is a comparison. The reason why a fig tree signifies the natural good of man is because every tree signifies something. The church in man, therefore also men with respect thereto. Confirmation are these passages. All the hosts of
What
heaven
are you
shall fall
reading?
down.
We're reading the book you can see on the stream. This book. It's Apocalypse Revealed by Manuel Swedenborg.
All
Go
the
on.
hosts of heaven shall fall down as a leaf falleth. I don't know how to read that. From the
Falleth,
vine.
like falls. Yeah. Falleth. Like
I've
fall.
never written anything Christian, honestly. Yeah, Isaiah. Will consume them. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree, and the leaf shall fall. All that, I don't know.
All thy.
All thy bulwark shall be like fig trees, with the first fruits. If they be shaken, they shall even fall upon the mouth of the eater. Besides Isaiah. Which places nothing else is meant by a fig tree. Okay, I think it's your turn.
Verse 14.
Where are you from?
Actually, I don't say about myself because
Okay.
I don't like to talk about myself. Okay, it's my turn, yeah. Actually, it's about topic. I don't represent myself, but I represent this book I read because I represent the author of this book. It's Swedenborg.
Okay.
Verse 14. And heaven departed as a book rolled together, signifies separation from heaven and conjunction with hell. It is said that heaven departed as a book rolled together because the interior understanding and hence the thought of man is as heaven, for as his understanding can be elevated into the light of heaven, and in such elevation can think with the angels concerning God, concerning love and faith, and concerning eternal life. But if his will is not at the same time elevated into the heaven, into the heat of heaven, the man is not conjoined with the angels of heaven, thus is not like heaven. That this is the case may be seen in angelic wisdom concerning divine love and wisdom, chapter 5, by virtue of this faculty of the understanding, the evil who are here treated of could be in consociation. What is consociation? I forgot. Consociation. Like it's about society, yeah.
Consociation.
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 It's like to be in one society. Consociation.
Consociation.
Consociation. Could be in consociation with the angels of the ultimate heaven, But when these were separated from the former, the heaven departed as a book rolled together. By a book rolled together is meant parchment. What is this? Parchment. Parchment.
Parchment.
It's like paper. Parchment paper. Parchment rolled up because the books were parchments, and the comparison is made with the book because the book is the word. Therefore, when it is rolled up like a parchment, nothing that it contains is apparent. Apparent or apparent?
Parent.
Apparent, yeah?
Apparent.
Apparent, like obvious, noticeable, visible. Apparent. Thank you. And it is as though it were not. On this account, the like is said in Isaiah, and all the host of heaven shall waste away, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a book, and shall fall down as the leaf falleth from the fig tree. Hosts are the goods and truths of the church from the word. From these things it may appear that by heaven departing as a book rolled together is signified separation from heaven and conjunction with hell. That separation from heaven is conjunction with hell is evident, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places signifies that all the good of love and truth of faith receded. Receded, yeah? Receded. Receded, maybe.
Receded.
Receded.
Yeah, receded, like depart. Receded. That this is the signification of these words no one can see without the spiritual sense. They have this signification, however, because by mountains are meant those who are in the good of love, because the angels dwell upon mountains, such as are in love to the Lord, dwelling on high mountains, and such as are in love towards the neighbor, dwelling on lower ones. Wherefore, by every mountain is signified every good of love. By islands are meant those who are more remote from the worship of God. See above, here those who are in faith, and not so much in the good of love. Therefore, in the abstract sense, every island signifies every truth of faith. By being moved out of their places is signified to recede. It is because the habitations of the angels are upon mountains and hills, that mountains and hills in the word signify heaven and the church, where there exists love to the Lord and love to the neighbor. And in the opposite sense, hell, where there exists self-love and the love of the world. The love of the world. That by mountains and hills are signified heaven and the church, where there exists love to the Lord and love to the neighbor, and thus where the Lord is evident from the following passages. Lift up the eyes to the mountains, from the whence cometh help. Behold upon the mountains the feet of him that publisheth peace. Praise Jehovah, mountains and hills. The mountains of God is the mountain of God is the mountain of Bashan. A mountain of hills is the mountain of Bashan. Why leap ye, O mountains, ye hills of the mountain? Jehovah desireth to dwell therein. Yea, Jehovah will dwell in it forever. The mountains leaped like rams, the hills like the sons of the flock. Before the Lord thou art in travail, travail, earth. What is travail? Travail.
Travail.
Travail, like suffering, torment. Travail. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Judah, an interior of my mountains, and my elect might possess them, and my servants shall dwell there. On the consummation of the age, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Thy justice, O Jehovah, is like the mountains of God. Jehovah will go forth and fight. His feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, before Jerusalem on the east. Because the Mount of Olives signifies divine love, therefore, the Lord in the daytime preached in the temple, but at night he went out and passed the night in the Mount of Olives. And the Lord discoursed with his disciples on that mountain concerning his coming and the consummation of the age. And Matthew, Mark, and following verses. And also he went from thence to Jerusalem and suffered, because the mountains signified heaven and love. Jehovah descended upon the top of Mount Sinai and promulgated. What is this? Promulgated. It's like
Promulgated.
promulgated. It's like proclaimed, propagated, promulgated, and promulgated the law. And for the same reason, the Lord was transfigured before Peter, James, and John upon the high mountain. And on this account, Zion was upon a mountain, and also Jerusalem, and they are called the mountain of Jehovah, and the mountain of holiness in many parts of the world. Mountains and hills have a similar signification in other places. That those loves are signified by mountains and hills may appear still more evidently from their opposite sense, in which they signify internal loves which are self-love and the love of the world, as is manifest from the following passages. The day of Jehovah shall come upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. The mountains shall be overthrown, and the steep places shall fall. Deep. Just deep.
Steep.
Deep. Like deep. Steep. Behold, I am against thee, O mountain, destroying the whole earth. I will make thee a mountain of burning. I saw the mountains, and behold, they were shaken, until the hills were overturned. A fire is kindled in mine anger, and it shall set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will lay waste mountains and hills. Behold, Jacob, I have made thee like a threshing instrument, that thou mayest thresh and beat in pieces the mountains, and to make the hills as chaff, that the wind may carry them away. Give glory to Jehovah God before your feet stumble on the mountains of twilight. Nor is anything else meant by the 7 mountains upon which the woman sat, which was Babylon. Besides other places, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Micah, Nahum, Psalms. From the above it is evident what is meant by every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Also in what follows by, every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Okay, think this reading is over today.